Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tunde Adenuga. So I'm here once again to talk on the impact of inflation on minimum wage. And I would love to use Nigeria as a case study so that we can understand the dimension and the role of inflation, the role that inflation plays on minimum wage. And firstly, let me first try and explain the types of inflation that are commonly used to people. And number one is partial inflation, and the other one is general inflation. Inflation itself is the general increase in the price of goods and services at a particular point in time within the economy. So when you talk about partial inflation, we're talking about inflation that is not holistic, that is not general, which simply means that, for instance, if you say food inflation, for instance, CPI alone, that one is partial inflation. So when we look at inflation from the cost of food alone, because consumer prices and so on, so we refer that as partial inflation. On the general inflation, when we begin to involve businesses and other goods and services we do in the country, including household, all that we regard all of them as general inflation. Whereas a general change in price of goods and services within the economy. However, how does inflation affect minimum wage? I've heard a saying that when there's inflation, there's a need for government to increase minimum wage. And yeah, I've heard a lot of school of thought in that regard. But the funny thing in that regard is this: increase in minimum wage alone is not the solution to in addressing inflation. What increase in if we don't address the fundamentals that are responsible for inflation, if all you do is to just increase the minimum wage, as Nigeria just did from 30K to 70K, now what we will experience over time is what is called money illusion. Money illusion is a situation where the nominal wage of the people keep increasing, but the real value of that wage is nothing to write home about. So if you have a nominal wage that keep increasing and the real wage remains what it is, automatically you have what is called money illusion. When you have so much money in your account, big more amount of money, like what is experienced in Zimbabwe, where you have about $500 million that cannot afford a loaf of bread. So the solution is not increase in minimum wage. The solution is to look for the factors responsible for that inflation, which most of the time include tax, transportation costs, and many other factors that could be responsible for that inflation. So if the government does not address those factors, minimum wage is not the solution. You keep increasing people's wages, and the real wage, which is the purchasing power, which the nominal wage can buy, is nothing to write home about. And that is why it's not enough to increase minimum wage. You must understand the fundamentals that are responsible to this and address it the way it ought to. Now, let me give you this. Nigeria inflation as of November was about 34.6, but the one that came out today is 34.8. That's an increase in inflation, and this happened to be the fourth time it's been going up in the last 4 months. So automatically, the problem still remain. Those factors that are responsible for Nigerian inflation keep that the problem are still there, and until we address those fundamentals, this one will not make any sense. Meaning, so sometimes I tell people that minimum wage increase is a lazy way of solving an economic problem, because it's easy to do. Sometimes you just print money and push money into the economy, and whereas the real cause of inflation have remained what it is. The government must address tax, they must address transportation costs, they must address insecurity, they must address exchange rate as well. Because particularly in a country where you have mono economy like Nigeria, where our major source of income remains the crude oil, and we import most of our needs. So anytime there's a devaluation of the naira, or the dollar keeps increasing in value, what happens is that your imported goods will also become expensive because of the exchange rate. And once your imported goods become expensive, automatically the real value of money will be lost in the process. So what I'm saying in essence is that minimum wage increase in solving this inflation sounds good, sounds logical, but in the long run is not a good solution. Rather, we should focus on the fundamentals that are responsible for inflation. If not, you will only be increasing people's money. They will be seeing large income in their account. That the value of that income will be nothing to write home about. And that is called money illusion. With this, I hope I've been able to address some of your challenges. In other subsequent one, I will address them further. Thank you so much. God bless you.